In order to be able to properly test creation theory, it is scientifically vital that we first define it. There are a great many different creation stories and myths. Most of them are fairly non-specific regarding timelines and the age of the Earth. A few are somewhat specific, and fewer still are highly specific. For example, the ancient Greek myth of creation is that Chaos and Gaia, the Earth, birthed the stars and the Titans, who in turn beget the gods. Before the gods were born, all life on Earth was birthed by Gaia, and the Titans and later the gods shaped the development of life to varying degrees. Included in this particular creation story is the birth of spiders after man first appeared in the form of a weaver woman who committed suicide, and various other mystical appearances of life during the time of man that is known to precede man by all reasonable measures. Norse mythology speaks of an eternal cycle of battle between Odin and Loki where the earth is cyclically destroyed and renewed. Ancient Babylonian mythology gives a rather fanciful tale that the earth is the result of the births of many gods and that large portions of it are actually the bodies of gods. Hinduism teaches that the world is created by Brahma, preserved by Vishnu, and then destroyed by Shiva in an everlasting cycle very similar to Norse mythology. Congolese mythology teaches that Mbombo, the white giant, vomited the sun, earth, and all life out of his stomach in a single act. Maori religion teaches that the universe was created when Rangwidi and Papatanku were forced apart. Clearly, there are as many creation stories as there are religions throughout history, and most are easily dismissed by the simplest scientific measures, regardless of whether you believe the Earth is billions of years old or just a few thousand years old. However, the creation story to be tested is defined more precisely and with a traceable timeline. It is the biblical creation. This creation story specifies the entire universe was formed in 6 days, including all life, that initially there was no death, and finally the corruption of the entire world, culminating in a sudden radical environmental change that resulted in a global flood with only few survivors left according to their kinds, which I will define later. It specifies that before there was form in the universe, there was light. It also specifies that before there was dry land, there was liquid water, and water vapor that comprised a great deal of the sky. It then specifies that land appeared, and soon following it came plants. It then states that light was regulated in the form of the sun and the stars, with day and night separated, which appears to be the ignition of the stars and the sun. Then came aquatic animals and winged creatures according to the direct interpretation of the original Hebrew. Finally, it states that land creatures were created with man being the last and specially made in the image of God. This is a severely abbreviated version of the Bible's account of creation. If you want the fully detailed version, pick up any Bible and read Genesis chapters 1 to 2. However, of equal importance is the account of the global flood that came a few thousand years later. This is important for reasons that will be specified as they apply to this lesson. Now that we have defined a creation theory, we have something tangible to test. The testing to be used will, at a minimum, meet the same standards of quality and logic that evolutionary science uses. This includes direct experimentation of phenomena that may or may not be intrinsic to the theory, but can be interpreted in light of it, evaluation of geologic and fossil formations, and observable natural phenomena that may or may not be tested or even testable in the lab. If this sounds like I'm playing loose and fast with the rules of science, I remind you that this is how evolutionary science is conducted. If evolutionary scientists wish to follow proper scientific procedure more closely, I will happily follow suit. However, as I mentioned earlier, this is merely the baseline standard. My goal is to exceed it, and by doing so, demonstrate how creation science is actually superior to evolutionary science, both in facts and methods. This series is dedicated to testable, positive scientific predictions that are derived directly from creationism. From the very next video onward, I will methodically dispel the popular myth that creation science provides no predictions while evolution does. I will also dispel the popular myth that creation cannot be defined because a definite, irrefutable knowledge of God is required first. In fact, all that is required is a creation story to run with, and if it fails outright, then we can safely say that the god or gods that it pertains to probably do not exist. But if it succeeds to any degree, we then gain some confirmation that the god or gods it pertains to either may or certainly do exist. If it succeeds mightily, then it is a near certainty that the god or gods it pertains to exist. Therefore, by taking on this scientific challenge, I am not only testing the Bible's account of creation, but also the probability of the God of the Bible existing. This has the dual benefit of granting us greater knowledge of the universe than we can see, hear, touch, smell, and taste, and a spiritual realm that most of us, if not all of us, cannot. Now that we've established the baseline theory of creation to set standards and goals, the time has come to start forming hypotheses and testing them empirically. This will begin in the very next video.